Here is a prime example of when the left just don't quite understand that the world has changed, because thousands have marched against Donald Trump in Washington, D.C. ahead of his inauguration. The so-called People's March featured people wearing knitted pink pussy hats, others dressed as characters from The Handmaid's Tale, good grief, and still others carrying signs saying, "Rest in peace, USA."
Joining us now is our man in the USA, Brad Polumbo from the Brad vs. Everyone podcast. Brad, always great to speak with you. Happy New Year. I thought there was an election and Donald Trump was voted in by the majority of Americans as president. Why are they protesting now?
He was, and look, they may have the right to protest, but it still seems pretty pointless and silly to me. I mean, he won the election. He's going to take power whether they like it or not, and a lot of their complaints seem hyperbolic and silly. I mean, I roll my eyes anytime I see somebody in a Handmaid's Tale costume. Some people seem to have forgotten that Donald Trump was already president of the United States, and the world did not, in fact, end. America did not, in fact, become a Christian fascist dystopian dictatorship or whatever it is these people seem to think is going to happen. In fact, until COVID at least, those were some of the best years in recent American history for our economy and our country in a whole host of ways. So look, they can go out there, they could have their day out with their silly little hats and do it to their heart's content, but the whole exercise strikes me as silly at its core.
And they're always the same, aren't they? The same uniforms, masks on. It's the same old characters all the time. Seriously, Brad. Now, look, let's talk about the inauguration. Only a few days away, but it's been moved indoors because of the cold. But do you really think that's the case, Brad, or do you think that this is more of a security risk to have the next president in such an open space?
Yeah, I'm speculating here to some extent, but I have a hard time believing that Trump would move it indoors simply because of the cold, when it means that so many of his supporters who traveled a far way and spent a lot of money to come won't be able to attend. I have a hard time imagining him doing that. I suspect that there may be some serious security concerns that are motivating this, but they don't want to say that. They don't want to encourage, deranged people who would disrupt our official government events. If it's just the cold, that would really raise an eyebrow for me, because if there's one thing Trump does, it's stand for his supporters and put on a show for them, and the show must go on, typically is his approach. I really would find it very difficult to believe that just the cold temperatures alone could motivate a change like this. I do suspect there's more to this story, but we don't know for sure.
Yeah, I'm absolutely with you on that one, Brad. I think there's more to the story than just it's going to be a bit chilly. I want to ask you about some other famous people in the USA. Meghan Markle and, of course, her husband, the Ginger. What do you make of reports in Vanity Fair that Meghan's PR team have reportedly spruiked a potential book about her life post-divorce from Prince Harry, which is a bit awkward since the couple haven't even split up?
Yeah, I wish I could say that surprises me, but it seems like the privacy brigade, when they're not begging us to leave them alone, will also do anything for attention. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if she'd shopped a divorce book or a divorce reality show. I'm honestly half surprised she hasn't come out as transgender yet. I guess you just constantly have to reinvent yourself and come up with new reasons for relevancy when you don't have any actual talents. I mean, everything that they've touched turns to the opposite of gold when it comes to their entertainment company and their Netflix deals. My personal favorite thing about her is that when she did her podcast series for Spotify, she didn't even record the interviews properly. She had producers interview the people and then read a script in her own voice of the questions to be edited in after the fact. That seems like more work to me, but it's just peak Meghan Markle. And so if this report is true, it would just be the latest in a long line of embarrassing things. I'm sad that of all the Americans to be initiated into the royal family, it had to be her.
I know, it's such a shame it had to be Meghan Markle out of everybody, every other American out there, Brad Polumbo. Apparently it had to be Meghan Markle. Goodness me. Brad Polumbo, it's great to have you back on the show this year. Thank you so much for joining us on the program this evening.